Hello, AC Universe, and welcome to Canada Crossing. We are on my island of Midnight today, and we'll be working on another speed build. So last time we were here, we did our marketplace, our nice fall autumn market, and now we're gonna just go up this incline and we are gonna do a pumpkin farm, because what else is better for a fall island than a nice pumpkin farm? So in case you weren't aware, this is our island where we're not using any features of Nintendo Online. So this whole farm will be done without any downloaded content from the internet. So make sure you stick around to check out the entire speed build. Also during the speed build, I will be giving my personal thoughts on the news we got this week from the Nintendo Direct, so you'll want to stick around for that. Okay, so we're starting the farm, and we want to, first of all, we're going to build the barn. So that's what I'm doing here, creating the cliff to create a little barn or shed, maybe. Maybe it's not a full barn, but that's what we're gonna do. And like I said before, so we're doing this all without Nintendo Online. That's what this whole island's about. So I had to create a little custom pattern, and by create, I mean make a black tile just to have a roof that was all black for the barn. So I mean, that's something anybody could do. You do not need to download a special pattern for that. So that's all we did, just so the roof wouldn't look like grass. So I'm happy with that. And then we're obviously going to add more to it and add the solar panels here to make a great roof, a pointed roof. I wish I had the black ones, but fortunately my island has the blue ones, but whatever. You got to work with what you've got. And yeah. So I did want to touch on the big news, the big Animal Crossing news that happened this week. So earlier in the week, Nintendo Direct released a little brief Animal Crossing update. And of course, the Animal Crossing community has been non-stop talking about it since. So of course I'm going to have to talk about it. And of course I want to talk about it because it's super exciting. So they revealed two things, essentially, that Brewster and the Roost Cafe is coming back, and that there's going to be an exclusive Animal Crossing Direct coming in October, which is going to feature content for the release in November. So having a whole Direct presentation just for Animal Crossing is insane to me. I never thought that was going to happen. So I am very excited for it. Obviously, as someone who creates content about Animal Crossing, any kind of update will benefit, but it will benefit all of us, honestly. So that is super exciting. So we know for sure that we're getting Brewster's Cafe and the Roost, so we can go get our coffees every day. In past games too, we were able to work shifts and serve coffee to other people on the island, so that was kind of fun. I don't know if they'll be bringing that mechanic back. I do think there'll be more to it. I think there'll be some sort of evolution to Brewster's character and to what he does on the island. I can't see it being just to go have coffee in the cafe. That doesn't make any sense to me. And it would not be enough to keep people playing this game, let's be real. So I do think there's going to be another mechanic to it. Do I know what it is? No. But I do think there's going to be more than meets the eye when it comes to Brewster. Also with Brewster generally comes gyroids. So gyroids are these little robot thingies that dance to music. You dig them out of the ground, usually the day after it rains, kind of like how we have fossils right now every day. You'd have the same little mark on the ground and you'd be digging up gyroids after the rain. I could take or leave the gyroids personally. They're not a deal breaker for me. Especially now, like when we're really decorating our islands and our houses to look a certain way, I don't know how gyroids are going to fit into that. So I mean, personally for me, they don't need to come back. Maybe that's a hot take, I'm not sure, but that's my personal opinion. I know people love them, and in past games they were fun, but we weren't really playing the same game back then, at least I wasn't. So I do think that this version of Animal Crossing New Horizons is just, we don't personally need gyroids, but I do believe they'll be coming back for sure. So what else could we be expecting in this direct and for the update? Well, I do think we're going to have a lot more. The fact that they're doing a whole presentation, there's going to be more than just Brewster. That's a given. I think anyone who thinks that they're just going to talk about Brewster and maybe the holiday updates, no. They would do a Twitter post about holiday updates. That's what they've done for the last few holidays. I think there's going to be more. First of all, I'm making the pumpkin patch, as you can see. I do like alternating the dark and light dirts on my pumpkin patches. It just kind of makes it a little bit more like the rows in the farm field. Like that looks more like a farm to me, so that's what I like doing. I also like alternating my fence around it, so I'm going to do some barbed wire and some hedges. It just kind of breaks it up and doesn't look so monotonous. So, I do think the update will include some things. I think, some things have been data mined in previous updates. I believe fence customization, and I mean, that's a wish, but I'm really hoping it becomes a reality. I think, and I hope it's more than just like 2 varieties. I want multiple colors with every type of fence. Stone fences, I want in different colors and like mossy versions. The wood fences, all the different kinds of woods, maybe even some color varieties. People are making crazy like rainbow, wonderful, beautiful islands. Fairy core, imagine all the different like colors of pinks and pastel fences if you had. I just think it wouldn't be hard. As far as I know, I'm not a computer programmer by any means, so I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to be like, oh, it wouldn't be hard. Why don't they just do it? I have no idea. Let's be real. But I do think that just adding a few color customizations to things would change the game so much for all of us that love the design part of this game and would keep us playing for a lot more. So, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. Let's add as many customizations as possible. So, fences and inclines and bridges as well. I find the inclines and bridges especially to me are very limited. When I was doing my city core island, none of them really fit, honestly. Like the stone one to me is more like if you were doing like a medieval castle or even forest core. It didn't really fit with the city because of the way it's rounded. And then the only one that kind of works is the one with the blue iron rails. And unless you're using the blue iron fence with it, it doesn't really go. So again, why can't we customize that to different colors of iron? I don't know. None of them to me really worked. So I would love either customization to bridges and inclines or adding a bunch more different kinds. That would also be great. Also expanding the limits. So I mean, we can only have 8 of each. And I find most times I want well, it depends on the island. I was going to say especially with inclines, but it does seem like I can, besides my swamp island, I could have used more bridges for sure. I made a lot more land bridges because of it, but mostly it's inclines because I think it would add so much more dimension to our islands if we're going up and down and up and down. And I understand that there needs to be a limit, but I think it could be more than 8 per thing. So hopefully they get rid of that or expand the limit anyway. I'd also like to see the ability to move resident services. I understand why they originally had it that you couldn't move it, but also I think it doesn't really matter. I mean, I understand they wanted to keep it because that's where everything happens and it was always going to have to be accessible to everybody, etc. But realistically, I don't know about you, but trying to plan out, or even like if you're resetting the game, trying to pick an island where resident service is exactly where you want it. I don't know. It would be easier if we just have the option to move it. I don't know. I think that's an easy fix, and I hope that they bring that up. I don't think that we're going to have any more special characters with this update. I think Brewster's probably going to be it this time. I do think that we're going to get Cap'n, and I think we'll get Gracie some days, honestly, too, because they were both big parts of the previous versions of the game, so I can't see them never being in this version. But I think this specific update is going to be Brewster. Well, I mean, I don't think it's going to be Brewster. We do know Brewster's coming, but I think that's going to be it as far as the characters come. I do think it's possible with this update we'll get a Nook's Cranny expansion. So in previous games as well, there's multiple versions of Nook's Cranny. And this, in our current game of New Horizons, it's only expanded once before. So I do think we'll get another version with perhaps an upstairs. It's been thrown out there many times, but I do think it might be a shop for Leaf. So Leaf has a permanent place on our island, and considering how this game has evolved into decorating so much and everyone is really into making their island beautiful, and to having the ability to buy shrubs and flowers at any time is a no-brainer to me. So here, going back to the build, I did jump forward because I wanted the trees to grow in to kind of see how things are going to look. And I was quite happy with how things are looking here. I did decide to put some apple trees in. It happened to be my third fruit on the island, which was weird because the third fruit usually your mom sends you fruit, but she sent me my sister fruit, which I found was really weird. But then randomly one of my villagers gave me fruit as a gift and happened to be the third fruit, which was apples, which I was really happy with, especially doing a fall island, because apples is hand in hand with fall, right? It's perfect. So I wanted definitely to throw some apple trees in this build. So going back to the update, I also think that some more customization as far as the outside of buildings might be an easy thing to give us. You know, having different versions of resident service depending on what kind of island you have. Maybe even just changing the color of it, or especially the color of Nook's Cranny. Like when I was just doing my swamp island, I was trying to cover Nook's Cranny as much as possible because it just did not go with my swamp. So I think that would be something that they'd be able to fix as well with an easy update. Let us have the ability to change some colors on some buildings. And lastly, I want to talk about the Amiibo card update. So we know we're getting new Amiibo cards there's going to be Series 5 now, which we will assume include all the New Horizon villagers that were never in the older games. So typically, Amiibo cards have about 100 different villagers in it. So there's only 8 new villagers and few NPCs. Did I say NPCs? A few NPCs that do not have Amiibo cards. So it's very possible that, I mean, they'll obviously be in the new set. But what are they going to do with all the extra space? So I have a feeling, and this might be way out here in a big prediction, but I think they might be adding some new villagers. Now, there's been some villagers that have been removed from past games. Maybe that's what's going to happen. I'm not sure. I would love to see new villagers, like brand new villagers. I would love to see new species. And more important than even that, I would love new personality types. So maybe some different conversation. That's another thing with this update. If they added that more dialogue to villagers, I don't know about you guys, but I do not talk to my villagers as much as I used to because I could just not hear the same stories over and over again anymore after a year of playing this game, right? Okay, and lastly, this is a 2-for-1. I'm hoping they're going to add more varieties of flowers and trees. I think it's time that we get some different varieties of flowers, for sure. The other games like New Leaf had violets and carnations. I think it would be great to spice up our islands and make them more variety and think of all the different colors of those different types of flowers. I think it's time. I think it's going to be beautiful. Let's do it. And trees. So also, we've had different fruit trees in previous games as well. And in Pocket Camp even, there's tons of different fruit trees. So I understand why they didn't right away, because if you think about it, all the fruit are also used for crafting. So just to bring in a new fruit, they're gonna have to add all these recipes and crafting for the fruit. So that's why it's not just a simple fact, snapping our fingers, okay, we'll just add a banana tree or a lemon tree. Then they have to create all the recipes to go along with those fruits, right? So I do get that it's not just as easy as that. But again, now it's been a year, we've had time now to come up with these recipes for the new fruit trees. So let's do it. Let's bring them in. And again, add some spice to our island. And even if you had a different way of getting them, like say Leaf opens his store, and this is how you get the new sprouts for these new flowers and new fruit trees. So yes, you'll never have them as your starter fruit flowers or fruit trees. You have to earn them by upgrading the shop to get Leaf in there to get these items. It's again something to play for, so let's get that. I think it would be awesome. I also would love, and this would never happen, but not just new fruit trees, but different types of trees. Like, imagine birch trees, the beautiful white bark of a birch tree on your island. It's gonna be stunning, right? Or a weeping willow hanging over your ponds. I mean, come on. That would be so amazing. So, again, that's probably a stretch, but it doesn't mean it's not something I would still want. But fruit trees and different kinds of flowers, I think, is definitely more possible and more realistic in the scape of what Animal Crossing normally does. So that's something I can definitely see happen. Going back to the build, I'm struggling with this area. I didn't like anything I put here, so eventually I decided with a spooky tree because I actually really like the spooky trees. I think they're kind of cool, so it's a fall island, so it was gonna work. And now it's just a matter of placing the last few things around, trying to finish off the build. Didn't like that empty space, so you can kind of still see the cliff, so I put a cypress tree there to hide the edge of the cliff. That's actually, a barn. So just some last finishing touches, but I really like the way this build came together. Lastly, I did put a cliff here. I don't know what's going to go on the other side of Kiki's farm right now, but just to finish it off for this video, I did want to put a cliff there just to kind of make it look a little bit more finished. And I think I actually like the cliff there, so chances are whatever I build will be on top of the cliff next. But anyway, I definitely feel that it worked, and yeah, we'll go from there. Also, I know I said the last thing was my last thing I was going to talk about the update, but this goes without saying, but a huge item drop, I would not be against. You add a whole bunch of items, especially if you guys play Pocket Camp for your mobile phone, the items in that game are unreal. Like, if they just added half of those items to our game, you'd be blown away with the amount of items. So do a big item drop, and that'll make us happy for a long time. Okay, now I'm not talking about it, I swear this time. Okay, so we are back from the speed build, and let's go have a look at Kiki's farm. I really wanted to emphasize fall colors because this island is going to be set probably November, which is what we jumped to, and quite happy with everything. I wanted orange flowers and lots of the dark wood items, so I put those all around. I love this little flower garden at the front. The tire toys are great to use as borders for gardens, and you can customize them in different colors, so I really think they turned out really nice. And then as far as the actual farm area, I definitely wanted different sized pumpkins, throwing in some other stuff like weeds and the coconut trees that don't actually grow, so they always just look like this weed, or like this growth, I should say, just to add some different kinds of items in the garden, so it doesn't just look like straight rows of pumpkins. So, and this is the barn. So again, we are not downloading any custom content on this island, and these are variations of simple panels that come with the game. So, you know, would it be ideally what I would have picked if I had Nintendo Online? No. But I think this barn looks like a barn. I can tell it's a barn. So I think we accomplished that. And then putting the silo and everything next to it. Kiki's enjoying her farm. Look, she's chilling and eating a donut. And then, of course, Kiki's house. I moved up here. Perfect colors for fall. She's a perfect fall villager. And just a little area for her to chill and read a book. She's a normal villager. So I don't really know what's going to go on the other side of her yet, so I just put this cliff now to kind of break it off so it looks a little more finished and not kind of just, oh, there's a big empty field next to her. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Let me know what you think in the comments below about this no design code farm. Also, let me know what you think was going to come in the new update in November. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Canada Crossing, it means the world to me, and I'll see you in the next video.